Meet me. All right, welcome back, boys. We have a lot to talk about today. We have the new ML hero, Celine, and all these slime collab heroes. For the record, I have not seen that anime or even heard of it. So I don't know. If you guys think it's a good one, let me know, and maybe I'll try and catch up on it the way I did for ReZero. But I can't really comment on the actual characters themselves because I don't know anything about it. We're also going to talk about this Judge Kise skin, so let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot to talk about and I don't want this video to be too long. So let's look at this new skin. It's her S3. So that's what she looks like now. I don't know. I don't really care about skins overall, but I think it looks fine. I think my theory on skins is it doesn't really matter because if you just reverse them, right? And, this one was the first Judge Kise, and the skin was the current Judge Kise. If anything, I think people would be more excited about that because they put more clothing on her, which is fine because I don't think they could have possibly put any less because she's probably one of the most basically naked characters in the game. But, that's how people generally want it, right? She's called Jugs Kise for a reason. So, again, the skins, I don't really care. Looks pretty cool, though. These spiky golden things are fine. I like it. I'm definitely going to use this skin once I get it. But again, I don't really care. So let's move on to ML Celine. Alright, so let's start off with ML Celine. I gotta say, I might have to pull for her just because of the artwork. It looks weird. It's like, it looks like old school, like 90s anime style, while also looking at like modern at the same time. I don't even know how to describe it. She's a light thief, which I love. I'm kind of a fan of the ML versions of heroes being the same class as the RGB heroes, because I don't like it when the MLs don't seem to follow the themes of the original, because then to me it's basically a new hero. I like ML versions to kind of be similar to the original with a few tweaks to make them more fun. But anyways, artwork, S+, love it. Let's see the stat line. Where is that? Story, you can watch that yourselves. I don't care about that. Even the full body art looks good. Effect resistance, imprint release, meh. I mean, it's good if you stack it. By itself, it's not good, but if you have like Maid and Armin and you're giving everyone on team like ADF res, that ends up being pretty good. Self-crit chance imprint. Obviously, that's good. The problem is, that's such a good self-imprint. You start feeling like motivated to wail for it to get more copies because crit chance imprints are so strong. So good for the hero, bad for your wallet. High base crit chance, pretty damn fast, 122 speed. So let's see her kit. Seems like a speedy hero. So we're starting off with her S2, so it's probably important. Oh no, this is good. 6 cents. That's an old movie. Damage suffered in one attack does not exceed 70% of max health. It's highlighted, so that means it's what the molas. 2, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19, 51. So the same as T-Surin. So basically, she can't be one-shot. She needs to be two-shot. Yeah, I guess it's still worth pulling. Even at base, she needs to be two-shot, but whatever. Decrease the skill cooldown by 1 when someone dies and gets 5 souls. Effects upon death are only activated once per turn. Okay, so all this means is if RB gabs and wipes out your whole team, you still only decrease skill cooldown by 1 and not 3. So it looks okay. It looks like a worse version of T-Surin's, but I'm assuming like this part of it is going to synergize with the rest of her kit. I guess there's really nothing to watch here. Is there something to watch? Is there an animation for the decreased skill cooldown? Oh, wait, no. We got to look at the skill. So there's no animation. I guess it just goes straight to the skill 3. So Spirit Gate Burning Possession opens the gate of the spirits, dispelling all debuffs from the caster and making the caster possessed for 3 turns. So yet another new debuff. I think it's new. Sometimes I'm wrong about that, and people will be like, oh, it's on this 3-star unit no one cares about. It's the first time I've seen it on a unit that, isn't horrible. Possession. Counterattack. Oh, no! God. More counter heroes. Are you kidding? Counterattacks when suffering a critical hit. When attacking, absorbs some of the damage dealt as health. Possession cannot be dispelled. You know, is this kind of like Mercedes artifact where it's gonna work? Now you can't counter on, because you know, like Mercedes, the condition is taking damage and not being hit. This doesn't really say is suffering a critical hit the same as being attacked. Like imagine this counters off like an SSB counter crit or something. When attacking, so built-in, so it gives him a lifesteal set or her a lifesteal set and a counter set, and you can't dispel it. We didn't even read the rest. Revives all dead allies before granting immortality to all allies for 1 turn. Let's just see it before we talk about it.
사망한 아군을 체포시키고 아군 전체에게 1단간 불사를 발생시키고 당신은
Welcome back.
치명타 피격 시 공격 시 피해량의 일부를 합니다. 리스키.
Okay, so let's see the rest of her kit before we talk about it overall, because S1's probably not that important. Attacks enemy with a sheep when the skill is used, if not triggered by dual attack, 35% chance to use Nimble Sword. If possessed, it's a 70% chance, so pretty high. Can't trigger a dual attack. It dispels 1 debuff from the caster, so it's a 1 debuff cleanse. With a 35% death pen, and her soul burn's expensive, but it's grant extra turn. Okay, let's see her waxed up.
쾌검은 자신의 역할을 깨지 신속하게 적을 공격합니다. 대상의 방어력을
What a stupid example. They did it into skill nullifier. Oh, there we go. Wait a minute. So she already has attack buff. It's hitting a Pavel for 3k. I mean, granted, there's Aureus, so what, 3,800 with 35% death pen and attack buff, and she only has 12k HP. I mean, the most hilarious part is in this example, they're gonna lose. There you go. The example shows that this team doesn't work. Okay, so what do I think of this hero? Well, first of all, I hate this debuff. I hope it's deleted from the game. I don't want more annoying countering heroes. I honestly don't know about this hero, guys. So potentially you can use this as some kind of, like in a bruiser draft. I feel like this hero is just straight garbage because she doesn't have T-turns like stealth or anything. All I'm gonna do, or like evasion, all I'm gonna do is just tunnel this hero and immediately kill it because it's pretty squishy, right? In an anti-cleave draft, what's the problem with this? So she has a full debuff cleanse, but she has to cast it, right? It's kind of like regular Celine. If she's silenced, or stunned, or slept, she cannot use it. She can't do anything. So one of the things running around in RTA right now is a Summer Isseria Cleave. What does it matter that she could do this if she just gets locked down and blown up? Yeah, she can't get one shot, but does that really matter? Most cleaves don't just straight up one shot you anyway. They hit you multiple times and you die. And she has no self-CR push, no real survivability whatsoever, other than trying to get the S3 off somehow. Now, I guess what you could do is build her ridiculously fast and then try to just give your team immortality right away because her base speed's pretty good. But that's predicated on the other team not having any strips at all, right? And they probably will. So that doesn't really work either. So... And from what I could tell, I mean, granted, I don't know how this hero is built, but this S1 damage is not particularly good. Where is it? That's not that scary. That is not that scary. And yeah, her S3 doesn't do any damage either, and it's a long cooldown. Granted, it gets lower when your teammates die, but there's got to be something I'm missing, because we know all the new ML5s are overtuned like crazy and broken AF, unless they're just trying to go the other way with this one. I just feel like this thing just dies instantly. Like, T-Surin is hard to kill, right? Because of the fact that she actually stealth CR pushes herself. This is a worse version of that. Rather, this is a worse version of that. Like, against T-Surin, people could also deal with it by doing things like Politis Soul Burning to trigger it and then S3ing to kill her. Whereas this, like, what do you do? What do you do against a cleave? Like, if a cleave team just has like an acid opener, it's like one of those single target cleaves. Just hit something else and then set up your AoEs, and then she gets hit by two things and drops dead and never S3s. I don't know. So my initial impression is this is not a must pull. I am sure there's some kind of situation I'm missing where she's very strong, but I can't see it. I feel like this is going to be a niche hero where there's going to be a very specific setup that she's very strong into, but it doesn't seem like the kind of brain dead mashing hero like APOC Ravi or AOL or Rem, where just like you just mash them, you don't think about it. I think this is a hero where you're going to have to use those brain wrinkles a little bit and be like, does it make sense to pick this? Like, who knows? Maybe people will use this with, like, if the other guy didn't pick any strips at all, just go for a full DPS BBK and just, you just use this to revive it and try to one-shot them with BBK. I don't know. But even as an anti-cleave, like, if I had to anti-cleave, I'd feel a lot safer with, like, a Belian on my team rather than this thing. So, all right, I guess what you guys care about is, do I think this is a must-pull? As a summarize, no, I don't think it's a must-pull. I think it's going to have her uses, but I don't think it's going to be the kind of hero you bring into every draft. Certainly don't think it's busted in any way. I could be wrong, though, but that's my early impression. I'm sure someone will figure out how to make this hero work to some degree. But she only has one attack skill, and it doesn't seem to hit very hard. So it seems her whole kit revolves around this being incredibly important. Now, again, the stat line, I don't know it. This thing might be a little scary, because keep in mind that because of her passive, it does let you completely forego HP and defense to some degree, as long as you have enough bulk to survive the opener. So that's it for Spirit Eye Celine. Let's move on to the next heroes. Alright, boys. Now let's talk about Rimuru. She is an Earth Warrior. Have not seen this kit yet. I'm actually going to be joining a podcast later, so I could probably put the link to that in the video description so you could get some other people's thoughts as well. Earth Warrior, decent stat line all around. Nothing special. Effect resistance, imprint release, self-attack imprint. We don't really care about the stats that much usually, other than the speed. Let's look at her kit. Skill 2, analyze and assess. After attacking with a non-basic skill, so anything other than her S1, copies 2 buffs when the target is buffed, regardless of whether the attack hits, and grants their effects to all allies. This effect is not applied to undispellable buffs, so like stuff like Ken or Rem's demon form. When an ally is attacked by a buffed enemy, activates Be Ready against the attacker. Can only be activated once every 3 turns. Why is there a damage mod? Oh, for the Be Ready. Be Ready. Quickly approaches the enemy and attacks. CR pushes herself by 30%. Ooh. This looks really good, guys. So at first, I was kind of confused by this, but it synergizes very well with the Be Ready, right? Because in practice, how does this work? If they attack you and they're buffed, you automatically counter them and you copy 2 buffs. I don't know if this could be resisted. Can this be resisted? No, right? I don't know, but I'm assuming it can't be resisted and you don't need effectiveness on her. So let's think about some openers, or let's think about cleavers, like, I don't know, like Closet Charles or something. Let's say that they open on you and, it's their turn one and they have attack buff and immunity, or something like that. Or in Closet Charles's case, it's even worse, right? Because he gets a self-evasion buff. So basically, because it doesn't matter if the attack hits, so it works even on evasion. Let's say Closet Charles attacks you, you counterattack with Be Ready, and you give your whole team evasion and attack buff, right? So that's pretty crazy. Or even if they don't have a buff, like most high players will have immunity set on most of their heroes. At a minimum, you're going to steal immunity most likely. There's very few teams where their opener has like 0 buffs. So this is potentially very, very strong. And depending on what kind of buffs they have, you could steal some really devastating buffs like evasion. If it's like a speed riot or something, like this could be very strong and very interesting. I guess there's really... Oh, we could see the counter, right? Why are they showing it against mobs? Okay, well, whatever. Looks good overall. Skill 3. Devour Black Flame attacks the enemy with Black Flame, and a successful attack will inflict 5,000 additional fixed damage. Increases proportional to the number of buffs granted to all allies, up to a maximum of 10,000 fixed damage. So for those of you guys not familiar with fixed damage, it's kind of like F10A's artifact. It just does a set amount of damage regardless of defense and stuff. I think it is impacted by like Aureus though. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Aureus is the only thing that would, or damage share is the only thing that would mitigate this. When the target is buffed, decreases defense of all enemies for 2 turns and unaffected by elemental disadvantage, so it can't miss unless they have either evasion buff or some kind of passive. And the Soul Burn is cheap and reduces skill cooldown by 2 turns. This actually looks very strong to me. Now, I don't actually know how many buffs you need to get up to 10,000 damage, right? But assuming it's not that much, like, like 6 or, if you just have immunity, you already have 4 on your team, right? But 10,000 fixed, and it's not just 10,000 damage, it's additional damage. So I don't know what the multipliers on this thing are. So if she hits for like, let's just say like 5k, because it is a single target move, and generally single target moves have better multipliers than AoE moves. This could easily mean like, since 10,000 damage can't be reduced by anything, but if you ban out the Aureus, it's going to do a minimum of 10,000 damage, and probably a lot more, maybe like 14, maybe even 20, who knows what the multis are. But this could be a very dangerous one-shot move, particularly if you're stealing things like attack buff. The other interesting thing this makes me think about is, since it's fixed damage, maybe you don't need any offensive stats at all, because if you can get the soul burns off and just wait, you can kind of put this in a stall comp, just put every single possible stat into speed, defense, HP, just make it unkillable, and eventually with enough Battle Frenzy, you're just going to start one-tapping stuff with this S3. So I think this looks like a very fun hero. S1's probably... Well, let's see it. Wait, is this a guy or a girl? Okay, it's a girl. It sounds like a girl. Okay, looks fine. Skill 1... Okay, this kind of fits his theme of getting more buffs. Immunity is very good, increase attacks very good, increase effect resist is the worst one out of the bunch. But, I mean, 3 out of 4 you're going to get a pretty solid buff. Okay, let's look at the artifact. Anti-Magic Mask. At the start of turn, it's a 100% chance to grant a random buff to the caster. What's Anti-Magic? It's a stupid name, but... Immunity, increase attack, increase defense, increase... Okay, so this artifact, to me, is very good, because the thing with random buffs is usually they sneak a few in there that's garbage, like increased effectiveness or something. Every single one of these buffs you don't really feel bad about getting them, right? Increased attack is big, immunity is big, increased defense is huge, increased crit damage is huge, increased speed, that's like 30% more, it's amazing. I mean, every buff is good, and honestly, for heroes that don't need Sigurds, this might be a good second option. Like Rem, you're still going to have on Sigurds, right? But I might actually try this on my A Ravi. My A Ravi's on Draco. I was debating using Crimson Seed, but I might want to give this one a shot. The one problem with this arty is you do have to plus 30 it most likely for it to be reliable. I mean, if you only have one copy, it's 75%, so it's kind of eh. I'd limit break at least like 85%, pretty damn good chance of proccing, but anything less than that's probably safer just to pick something else. But overall, this is a pretty good artifact, so I think this hero is going to be a lot of fun. I think this move is probably the most interesting and strong part of her kit, but honestly, this direct damage stuff I like too, so I think I will definitely find room for this in my kit, and I like it. Overall, I love it. Let's move on to the next hero. Alright, now let's talk about Milim. She is a fire mage, and she is the destroyer who brings ruin and destruction upon all. So you know she's powerful because she's basically naked. In Japan, there's a law that says based on your power level, the more powerful you are, you're not allowed to cover your stomach or thighs. So she's following the law, and clearly she's very powerful. Let's find out more. She is a fire mage. Decent base speed, but doesn't look like an initiator. High crit chance, self-attack imprint, dual attack imprint release. Everyone's going to hate that. Highish attack. Looks very squishy, though. Let's see her kit. Skill 2, Milim, however you say it. Dragon Eye, Milim Eye. That's a stupid name. So what is dragon equivalent to Milim? So it's just... maybe her name is just Dragon. At the start of battle, at the end of the turn, has a 70% chance, 100% chance to grant Dragon Milimai to the caster for one turn. When the caster is granted the eye at the start of turn, dispels stealth from all enemies. Ignores effect resistance when focus is full after attacking. Consumes all focus to activate Dragon Buster. Attacks all enemies, removes 10 souls. Dragon Eye gives her evasion and increased hit chance and cannot be dispelled. So this will shut down things like Landy. I'm assuming this doesn't work against S10A because it's permanent. I mean, if it works against S10A, this is crazy, but I'm assuming it doesn't work against S10A because S10A stealth isn't a buff. But it will remove it from things like Kise, Landy, Tomoka. Can't think of any other stealth heroes. I guess Akoli. So I guess this is a very specific counter pick hero. Maybe she is fire, so good against Landy. Do they show us the Dragon Buster? Looks pretty cool. I mean, we can't tell what the damn damage is though, because it keeps showing it against mobs. Okay, let's move to the next move. Skill 3 Dragon Fear releases mana to attack the enemy, inflicting extinction, another extinction hero, when the enemy is defeated. Increases her evasion for 3 turns when the enemy is not an elite or boss miner, so ignores Aureus. So this kind of looks like Tomoka, except she doesn't have an attack buff, but instead of getting stealth, she gets increased evasion. So that's the survivability mechanic for her. Let's take a look at this. Let's just read all her whole kit so we can discuss the hero overall. I want to see this animation. Her whatever thing, the S2 has a better animation than that. Okay, so another extinction hero. Looks like a kind of like Tomoka ripoff, but with stealth removing mechanics so far. S1's probably boring. Let's see it. Attacks the enemy, recovering health proportional, so she has a self-heal. Oh, she does have a self-attack buff for 1 turn. Soulburn grants an extra turn. And she's a mage. So I think this kind of... she's a Landy counter. She's a Landy counter because you could put her on Taga Hells. She's decently fast. You soul burn to get the attack buff, kind of like how Tomoka uses her S2 to get attack buff, except she can straight up remove Landy's stealth, self-attack buff, and then blow her up. And if it's like a made Landy comp, extinction. Can't come back. I think we have the best Landy killer in the game now. Let's look at the artifact. Upgraded Dragon Knuckles. Oh no. God damn it. When the caster suffers a non-critical hit, it has a 30% chance to counterattack. So this artifact is going to suck on pretty much every mage in the game except her. Why? Because if you evade, they miss, and that's a non-critical hit. So she's going to counter when she evades, 30%. So it's exactly the same as a counter set at max. So she's kind of like a Fire Violet, but not really, because Violet counters every time he dodges. She will dodge less than 1 in 3 chances when she dodges, so it's still not the same, but it's kind of like a worse Fire Violet if you want to build her that way, because she has evasion plus her whatever thingy, so she technically has more evasion than Violet, right? 20% plus evasion buff is 70%. But she isn't a guaranteed counter, and she's probably squishier than Violet unless you build her with some tank. If I build her, I'm more likely to build her as just a Landy Annihilator, because I hate Landy. But I would not be surprised if people build Bruiser versions relying on that artifact, and why not add another cancerous counter hero to the mix, right? I mean, you don't need lifesteal set on her, because, I mean, you could, but it recovers health proportional to damage dealt, right? So theoretically, you could forego the lifesteal, just put her on counter set 2 on top of her artifact, just get that counter rate up. Ugh. So that's a possibility. We might see another annoying-ass RNG counter hero in the game. Or the honorable ones will just go Taga Hells and blow people the hell up. But we will see. My impression of this also looks very strong, guys. I mean, it's an RGB hero, so as long as you have Bookmark, there's no reason not to get it. But this kit looks very solid to me. And of course, Landy was just on banner, so they're selling you the solution. But, yeah. For RTA, this might be a must-have, based on what I'm seeing now. And the previous one was pretty damn good as well. So, those are my thoughts on it. Let's move on, but my honest impression is I think we're going to see this in RTA. I think it's going to be good. Let's move on to the next one. All right. Last but not least, or maybe least, who knows, Shuna, a Shrine Maiden. So we had a slime, a dragon, and now we have a person who comprehends all of creation. Huh. Sounds pretty arrogant. I don't like her already. Okay. She is a fire soul weaver, slow as balls, nothing too special, self-effect resistance imprint, health imprint, a little bit of base effect resist, whatever, looks like standard slow soul weaver stats. Blooming Lotus dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and redistributes health of all allies to be equal before granting a barrier for 3 turns. Heh. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's max health. Okay, I want to say this looks really freaking strong, but before I say anything, I want to see the rest of her kit, but let's at least see this animation. It's a boring animation. And again, Smilegate, what are you doing? Stop with this. Do the arena showcase again. We don't care about your stupid wolf-headed people. Get that crap out of here. Skill 1, not skill 3, okay. Magicule explosion. I already hate this word. I don't know what that means, but that's a stupid word and it should be illegal. Attacks the enemy by manipulating magicules. I guess it's like molecules, but it's magic fuels. What an asshole. It recovers health of the caster. Damage dealt and amount recovered increases proportional to the caster's max health, or whatever. This is probably going to suck. Let's see it.
자신의 최대 생명력에 비례 피해량과 회복량이 증가합니다.
Yeah, it looks lamer than it sounds. It does have a soul burn that grants an extra turn though, so you might be able to turn games around by soul burning and using your big heals. Why the hell is that next though? Where's the skill 3? Sleeping spell. Dispels 2 buffs from all enemies with flower petals before a 15, 25, 35, 85% chance to put them to sleep for 2 turns?
전체의 강화 흩날리는 꽃잎으로 적 전체의 강화를 2개 해제하고 최대 85% 확률로 2턴간 수면을 발생시킵니다.
Let's see your artifact first. Increases effect resistance by 20%, increases effectiveness by 15%. This effect can only stack up to 3 times and resets at the start of battle. Does the effect resistance stack or only the effectiveness? Let's see if they mentioned it. I think it's only the effectiveness.
저항이 최대 20% 증가합니다. 자신의 턴 종료 시 효과적 접되며
I mean, they don't really say anything other than just saying it again, but I think it's just the effectiveness stacks and not the effect resistance. If it was the effect resistance, it might actually be pretty decent. But, okay. I thought this was going to be like, he was going to have a second big AoE heal. And I thought that was going to be really good, right? Because in RTA, what is typically the goal? You focus down one person to kill them. And this would be very good because one person gets focused down, you redistribute all that damage, and then you follow up with a big heal to get everyone back up to full. And that might be really strong in like a bruiser versus bruiser draft where you drafted a team where everyone has a lot of HP. And that's just demoralizing, kind of like Shooting Star Arcades, right? This is another move similar to that. Basically redistribute it all. And her history is not bad. It's just weird to put it on a Soul Weaver. But you know what? I like it because this is the kind of stuff I want to see, right? I don't want to see weird rock, paper, scissor mechanics or broken-ass counter shit or evasion or whatever. This is kind of like putting kits together, right? Like I kind of liked Amelia for that reason. It was like you put like a cleanser and A-lots together. There was nothing special about her really. It was they took kits from other heroes and put it together so that in a draft you could be like, does this fit the situation? Now Amelia is a little bit busted, but like this is another kind of that same design philosophy because it's weird. It's like, what do? How about we have a Soul Weaver that also basically has Sage Balls S2, but a little bit better because it's 2 buffs instead of 1. I mean, she's too slow to ever use this as an initiator, and you're going to have to build her with some effectiveness. I mean, granted, she has that artifact, but, you know, Soul Weaver artifacts are so good, I still don't think I could justify using that thing. Just put her on an effectiveness ring or something, at least, instead, so that she could keep, like, Magaharas or, you know, like the Amelia artifact or Rod or something like that. Well, I gotta say you probably shouldn't get this one just because of this word. It's just, you're gonna get dumber every time you read this skill. But other than that, I don't think she's gonna be, like the other Soul Weaver's just too good, like Amelia and Maid and stuff. But I don't think she's bad. But, you know, is redistributing damage and a 85% chance to sleep that will probably be resisted by stuff with high effect resistance, unless you make her squishy as F, worth it? Or would you rather have something like Amelia who's going to be A-lots pushing everything every other turn? Yeah, so I think this is not going to be a particularly common hero to see in RTA, but I like the design philosophy. I like the design philosophy of not just going super busted. So I think this is my favorite design philosophy out of all the heroes. But sadly, it's probably the worst one. So anyways, those are my thoughts on these 2 heroes. hopefully you guys, actually I don't even care if you agreed with me, but if I said anything dumb and I completely missed it, it's possible because, you know, I'm mildly idiotic. Leave it in the comment section below. If it's true, I'll try and heart it or pin it or whatever so more people can see it. But those are my general thoughts on the heroes. And yeah, that's about it. I'm excited to see this collab. Let me know if I should ever watch this slime anime. If it's a good one. I've never heard of it, so I don't know if it's super popular. I mean, I'm not super up to date on anime, but like, I think I've heard of most of the really big ones. I don't know, maybe I haven't. So anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, peace out.